Hi! Hello! Today I want to talk about my favorite game series of all time, Chaos Head. Or rather, the entire franchise. However, there's an entire anime based off the visual novel game, and it's nothing like the visual novel. The studio Madhouse produced the anime, releasing in Japan on October 15, 2008. The studio is also responsible for anime adaptations of games such as Steins Gate, April 2011, as well as Robotics Notes, October 2012. While I haven't watched either of them, I've heard all similar complaints of them being brutally butchered as an anime. Even though the two are the same universe as Chaos Head happened years before the other two animes did. While I think having a connected universe like that is a cool concept, I wish they did a better job representing the visual novel in the anime here. I'll be honest here, don't bother watching the Chaos Head anime, just play the visual novel game. There are 2 games in the Chaos Head franchise, as well as 2 horrible anime adaptations of the games. These being the first one, Chaos Head, with the game Chaos Head Noah, and the second installment, Chaos Child, both anime and game. I actually have the Chaos Child game myself, and I think it's better than the Chaos Head Noah game. Maybe one day, once I start streaming on Twitch, I'll play the game there. I might make videos going more in depth about the games themselves later in the future. Also, maybe I'll look into the second anime in the series, Chaos Child. However, our main focus today is Chaos Head, the anime. We start out in what seems to be an abandoned wasteland, with a pink-haired girl approaching a body. She's going to kill this person, who we later find out to be our main character, Tatsuki Nichijo. But the pink-haired character kisses him? What an odd start to this anime. Totally not the end of the anime being shown at the start. The main character, Takumi, lives in a storage crate on the roof. He's a recluse shut-in who's also a huge anime fan. Stop giving us a bad name. Not all of us are like this, I promise. Takumi is such a huge anime fan, he has hallucinations of his 2D waifu being real. Talk about schizo. Takumi reads about the events happening in Shibuya, a series of brutal murders deemed the new generation madness. The first event of 5 students ending their lives together, jumping off a high tower. The second being the body of a dead man having a fetus shoved into his belly, deemed the pregnant man. A message from someone of the username Shogun shows up with an image of a link being spammed, this image being one of a gruesome murder. Later that night, Takumi happens to stumble right into one of the new gen madness murder scenes, and it's exactly the one from the images that were sent from Shogun. There is also a pink-haired girl Takumi sees at the scene, before screaming and running away. The next day, Takumi is in school. He notices a pink-haired girl, much like the one from the murder scene that happened the night before. He panics seeing her and her knowing who he is, but him having no recollection of the girl at all, even being told she's been in the same class with him since the first year. There's also another random girl we meet who confesses her love for Takumi even though they just met. Her also being interested in the same animes as him, trying to get closer to him. Still, she catches him with one of the iron stakes hidden under the bed from the gruesome murder scene that had occurred the night before. Her also explaining that all the chat messages were not from anyone, but he was sending them to himself the entire time. And then the infamous eye quote that's in both this anime and the second one, those eyes, who are they? Takumi wondering how the hell he was able to send himself a picture of the murder scene before it even happened, his 2D imaginary wife tells him to look it up on the internet. This is when he finds the name Fess, of a singer who's in the band Phantasm, who's never been photographed anywhere online, who predicted the murder happening in one of their songs. Assuming Fess is the same pink-haired girl he saw the night of the murder, he goes to one of her shows. Fess is not the strange pink-haired girl we see, but we see her with a strange sword. However, Takumi's the only one who's able to see the sword at all. We also find out Fess happens to go to the same school as Takumi. Talk about coincidence. He sees another girl with a similar sword as Fess and freaks out. She also, of course, happens to attend the same school. The blonde-haired chick from before asked Takumi to stop murdering people. Takumi, left confused on why everyone thinks he's a murderer, reaches out to the one who sent the messages, Shogun. Shogun being an old man who tells Takumi he needs to awaken before more people die. Before then disappearing? The girl he saw on the street with a sword explains that an evil company is using a machine to save wavelengths out to mind-control people. Yes, the show actually uses diagrams. The mind-control tactic is making people see things that aren't actually happening, basically causing forced delusions. She tells him not to trust everything he sees, pointing a popsicle stick at him, causing him to flinch. What a pussy. Going back over to Blondie, who shows up out of nowhere, had said she wanted to turn him in herself, but telling him he should be the one to turn himself in, still believing he's the one behind the murder. So he runs away. Real heroic. What a pussy this guy is. Nez shows Takumi her sword, saying he needs to find his own. She explains the sword can alter the very being of reality. Wait, a what sword? Yeah, that's the actual name for it. Who thought that was a good idea? It's crazy to think they just pulled their D-sword out of thin air. Change reality. I can think of a lot of things a D-sword can change. Basically being told he can't be taught how to summon a D-sword, he's also now told the sword's only visible to a select group of people called Gigalomaniacs. The sword is used to make anything one can think of a reality. You mean I can use my D-sword to make my D even bigger than 12 inches? Anyway, a random earthquake begins shaking his entire small crate of a house. The people in the city are going insane, insanely brutally killing one another, or stealing a bunch of things. Despite an earthquake, all seems fine. We learn the evil company called Nozomi Tech is the one responsible for the earthquake, causing hundreds to die. The earthquake being caused by a test run of their brainwashing machine. Another random girl from Taku's school says she knew all about the evil company, revealing the Gigalomaniacs' plan to break into the headquarters, destroying the machine. Inside the corporation building, they face off against a main villain. Except he also has a D-sword? The fight goes on for a while until Nai pulls up, becoming fucking Katara, freezing the fucker to the floor. Long fight scene later that destroy the machine, but the villain they just fought wasn't even real and just protected delusion caused by the machine. Also, the machine, still being a prototype, isn't even at sterile power. One of the girl's dads was a scientist who worked on the brainwashing machine, using his wife as a living test subject. We also find out that Takumi was the one who wrote the equation for the machine when he was a child, meaning he was the one who created the device. Wanting revenge for him being responsible for what happened to her mother, she wants to kill him. Pink-haired Rimi tells Takumi he's never existed in the first place. He was a delusion that was created by the original Takumi. I'm sorry, what? This whole time he never existed? He never existed and was a human that was just spawned into existence like a damn Minecraft character? Okay. The evil company needs to get all the Gigalomaniacs to collect samples from each of them to make the brainwashing machine software work at full scale. Takumi, overwhelmed, realizing his entire existence is a lie, has a mental breakdown. The entire city is still murdering one another. Takumi waits outside, hoping for someone to come and end his meaningless life. Shogun shows up, revealing he's the real Takumi. Basically, the original version of this meme, the reason for Takumi being created by the original Takumi was because he needs someone who was able to save the world. The real Takumi explains the more he uses his powers, the older he gets.
Which is why the younger fake Takumi was made.
Finally being able to draw his own D-sword now, Takumi now understands what he must do. However, the Gen Madness perpetrator shows up, and she kills herself? Before ending her life, she says that the murders were necessary for him to awaken finally. Also saying she was following some orders she was given at Nozomi Tech. I don't really understand how mass murder was needed for him to awaken. Just for him to be able to pull out his own D-sword. That sounds so bad. My brain is melting faster than the old man Takumi is aging. Now it's time for the actual fight with the big bad. Of course, not after more water bending. and finally a stab to the big bad's heart, killing him. Bringing us back to the beginning scene of the anime. Also finding out if Takumi doesn't die, the real one will. But the real Takumi already died, sparing the fake Takumi's life. And that's the end. Yikes, my head hurts after all that. Listen, the anime flopped, and here's why. The visual novel game the anime is based off of has a total of nearly 30 hours of content and story just to get 100% of completion. Trying to shove nearly 30 hours worth of content into a short 12 episode long anime with episodes 25 minutes long. It just isn't possible. That's why the anime is so jumbled around trying to rush into things. This causes so much key important details to be skimmed over, or sometimes even being straight up skipped altogether. This is why I'm going to give the anime a rating of 2 out of 5 stars. Just do yourself a favor. Don't watch the anime. Just play the visual novel instead. Trust me, you'll be thanking me later. Well, that's all I have for today's video. I hope that you guys enjoyed. And if you want me to do a deep dive into the game series, or even a deep dive into the anime and game series of the second installment, let me know in the comments. Until next time, my Crimson Petals.